back, everybody, to Pro League. We're sitting here at 1-1 between the Jin Air Green Wings and KT Rolster. Maru smacking down stats in that last one.
Yeah, pretty easy peasy. It's definitely going to be a better and longer series as a result of this last one. We're tied up now, but the question is, who do we see here? TY is my pick. I want to see him. I want to see this TBT. The momentum, you know, they stopped the momentum of stats, but TY versus Maru, like, I always feel like if it is what we see next, it could be the game that decides this entire series.
That could definitely be. Let's see who it's going to be from KT Rolster. It is TY!
Yes!
Oh yeah, you got a cheer from the crowd. Everybody wants to see this TBT, and we're gonna have it.
5-3 this season. Very strong TBT. He and Alive kind of leading the forefront of TBT this year in Legacy. Maru, though, very close behind, TBTing great giants like Innovation just recently. And it's hard to say, really, who's the favorite going into this one.
I don't know, man. I feel like overall, from what I've seen, TY has played more TBTs. I feel like he's more solid overall, but Maru showed a very nice defensive style on Runes of Sarah's last time against Innovation. It's going to be Orbital Shipyard, the map. So lots of drop potential, lots of harassment potential, definitely in that backdoor base. But the third base, very safe. Could see a bit of a longer one that has some aggression early on.
Yeah, definitely so. I hope we go to Supreme late game. I hope we see lots of tank-evacs floating around the map, harassing armies.
Looks like that might be what we get here in Orbital Shipyard. Let's jump into game number 3 now. Maru and TY. Down here in the bottom left, in the red, from the Jin Air Green Wings, it is Maru.
And to the top right, in blue for KT Rolster, it is TY. Both players very famous for being young and successful. Another Austrian fan here. Austria for KT, that sign said. Now, both players actually in their respective games, the youngest player to have success. TY, known as Baby in Brood War, is the youngest player playing from like the age of 11 or 12 in professional leagues, was picked up by Woongjin Stars early on. Maru was playing for Prime when he was, I believe, 10 years old, 11 years old. His very first televised match was beating Sella, a popular streamer, in the GSL Open Season #1, and they both came to great success as they got older. They're still very young, of course, but Maru is the younger of the two, as Starcraft 2 is the younger of the two games as well. But TY has switched over completely to Starcraft 2 and has found more success, arguably, than he ever did in Starcraft 1 in this game.
Yeah, Maru finding his own fair share of success, winning SSL once, I believe.
Says that sign said, does Maru have 20 fingers? It's like, I think he's got 20 fingers.
Good question. Maybe you could ask him after the broadcast. If you guys came down to the arena, you could also talk to the players. They're always doing photo shoots and just fan meetings up on the second floor, usually, the winning team, at least.
Can't promise you they're not going to be shy and nervous around you, but my brother and his wife are having a baby, and I'm just here watching the best game in the world. KT for life.
Zest Fighting, by the way, up there in the top right.
Yeah, and High Best Beer Wings. We covered that sign, man.
We did it. It's in English. It's really easy.
It actually came up really long. I didn't think it would, so I was like, I was ready to read it all.
They were trying to figure it out as well. Saying it's going to be a 4-2 for KT.
Well, these builds are very generic, safe, Orbital Shipyard TBT builds. The late factory after the CC, a little bit of harassment going on by Maru's SCV scout, but he didn't get to block the CC. got killed by the Reaper. Marines are coming out. We've seen it all before.
Yeah, just going to be pretty standard here. I was wondering if either of these players going to go for any kind of aggressive drop early on, or are they just going to play the econ game? Well, it seems like TY wants to take that econ route, going for a very early third CC. Just going to try to drop that down at his third base right there in front of his main. And on the other side, Maru, if I knew Maru at all, is probably going to be going for Banshees.
Yeah. No tech lab on that factory yet. He just got the money for it. Actually drops a reactor instead. Pretty sure that's on his barracks though. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And a Hellion is coming out. So still more harass-based play. But TY is going for his own Banshees, getting a tech lab on the factory. I like TY's position more. I think he's got more harass potential, and he's going to have the better econ behind it. And we'll see what Maru can get done. He's going to have a slightly faster starport, like very slightly, and a Hellion.
Yeah, so not going to be Banshees here for, well, actually, now that I say that, a Viking, in fact, coming out, and now a tech lab being made on that factory. Still could just be for tanks. Doesn't have to go into Banshees. That was his style in Heart of the Swarm, and it was the style that he used against Innovation.
Ooh, late Reaper Scout coming in. He's going to see the tech lab on the factory and the naked starport, and he's going to be reminded of what his own base looks like. Oh, waste that mule time. That mule, he may never get the minerals home. I don't care about the Reaper. Let's see the mule. No, he's not making those. I don't think those came home. I think those 30 minerals just dropped on the floor. They did. You checked it. There's no way he turned those in.
I think he might have.
I don't think so, man. Pretty sure that
he was done mining. Like, I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna have to look back at the replay, Wolf.
I'm teasing, but tanks coming out for both players. No safety cyclone or anything like that, as they both went for safe Vikings, and they're building their Viking count, which is very important in this matchup now with the fact that you can lift siege tanks into medevacs. Like, it was really important since Wings of Liberty to have Vikings in TVT when you're going for tanks, because tanks can shoot further than they can see, right? But when you have tanks and medevacs that can shoot whenever you drop them pretty much instantly, then it becomes even more important to have those zoning tools. And reactors for both starports now. A few medevacs actually on the way from Maru.
Yeah, it's interesting the way that these builds are lining up. I think TY gets the slight edge, the earlier CC, and then eventually goes into it. I think he got like slower second Viking, but it doesn't really matter. He's got more Marines, more SCVs out. So definitely a good position for him. Stim timing's going to be similar. Maru's getting out a little bit faster, and also going for the earlier double eBay.
Yeah. And that's going to be some really important upgrades he's going to get. Tank evac time, 2 of them lifted up. Now, this is all about control and multitasking in this matchup. And even if you have an early lead, everything can change in a second with these medevacs. Just ask Bomber versus Forte from last week. You have the better control. If you have the better multitasking, you can absolutely fight your way back into a deficit, despite despite the fact that TY has a third CC now landed. And 5 more SCVs has had triple mules for longer. Maru's going to get his own, and here come those tank evacs.
Yeah, and at the same time, Maru had a couple of Vikings go up towards the left side of the main. He may have been trying to go for a timing to snipe the medevacs before they leave the base of TY, but they're already near the base of Maru, and he's got no defense back here.
None, he's moving his army away as well. This is a dangerous drop. A few Marines dropping down with 2 siege tanks sieged up. This base is sieged, and even Vikings aren't going to be very helpful here. He's going to have to control them very well to try to stop these units from escaping this base. Scan goes down so we can actually get the first volleys on these siege tanks as well.
Wow, he's just focusing down the medevacs. Doesn't want to let them escape, and they will go down here. But the damage did get done in terms of denying a lot of mining time. Now the Vikings of TY, coming in the back and sniping a medevac of his own.
Yep, he's actually going to try to win this Viking war. He mistargeted though, and here comes some more reinforcing Vikings.
Surprise Vikings from the right. You didn't see those coming, TY.
Oh, this is a bit messy. Things happen like this sometimes. It gets awkward. Sorry, little Viking.
The Viking dance.
The one Viking's like, I'll take care of him, and he comes back down. But that was a crazy little exchange. I would say Maru got slightly the better trade there. Like, it was pretty even overall, but he definitely got the end kills. And now he has 1-1.
Yeah, he killed a lot more units, I believe. He killed the 2 medevacs, the 2 tanks, and all the Marines on the ground, and also got all the Vikings, even though he did lose a bunch of his own. Did win the Viking war. He's now ahead 4-2. We were talking about how that's very crucial in terms of TVT now.
Yep.
And you see TY now just trying to catch up in that Viking count, whereas Maru just going to start making more medevacs. So he's got that air control right now, as well as the upgrades.
Yeah, his armory is coming up slightly late, or else he could be getting even further ahead. TY is catching up in upgrades. He is going for a solo medevac drop on the left side, whereas Maru is doing another tank-evac excursion. This time he might actually be able to commit to some damage here. He's got Vikings for support. He's going to grab this sensor tower. No cancel there. It was instantly destroyed. So costing him some money. A nice pick off there.
Orbital Shipyard's a fun map for TVT. You can usually drop your tanks down there, deny some gas, even shell some of the SCVs that are mining at that third base. Here comes the drop into the main. There is one tank waiting.
Yeah.
That medevac does take a bit of damage, but there's only the tank here. Looks like it'll be enough,
yeah,
especially with the repair.
It. The turret's just finished in time. The medevac survives. Looks like he's going to try to go for a hit on the main base. So Maru has sent his Vikings home. You know, TY just scouting with his Vikings to see if he can get a few pickoffs. Here come those Vikings of Maru and the tank evacs to clean up, but he's not controlling those Vikings very well.
Loses a Viking for nothing essentially there. Tank could have done the damage, was just flying over, maybe trying to snipe that medevac. But TY very smartly just dropping the Marines and getting out of there. Doesn't want to lose any of his units right now.
TY has more barracks than Maru. It's 9 to 5 production here, and I don't mean like 5 days a week, you know, day job. I mean he's got 9 Marines at a time coming out versus Maru's 5, and so he has the bigger Marine count, and he has his base. He's had it for longer. He's had the larger workout. Or he had the larger worker count for a long time. Maru is now caught up, but he had a bigger bank, and he's hitting the better production cycles here. This is greedy.
Yeah, trying to go for the drops there. Look at this, a couple of Vikings going to be sniped. And always, Maru's got these 1 or 2 Marines out on the edge, drawing the fire of the tanks. He keeps them closer to the tanks, and that's really annoying for TY. He has to target those tanks. And a really nice little micro move there by Maru.
Yeah, really, really important. I've seen, oh, hold that thought. Oh, nearly getting that medevac base. Going to get 2 Vikings here for free. TY just making some control mistakes. He has the larger army, but it's not all together, and he keeps losing small chunks of it.
The way larger army. In fact, we went over the numbers before, but 52 to 33 Marines, 9 to 8
Oh,
tanks.
he's just going to stem and run in here.
Snipes a medevac and a tank in it. So really nice job, just going to back off. But look at this tank. I don't know where he's going.
Forces a big stem and actually forces Maru to be a bit out of position. Looks like TY is not going to try to capitalize on it. He's got a double drop coming here to the back of the base. There are so many turrets here, though, and a siege tank, but still, it's not quite enough.
Oh, he needs to get the repair here. He's not going to repair, in fact. At the same time, there's only 1 tank back here. He needs to be dealing with this, but he's struggling to micro in all these different places. Some Marines coming over now to help. It looks like TY will snipe both of those tanks.
And that means follow-up drops will be more powerful, but notice that Maru is catching up in supply little by little. And he's going to get a nice angle here on this planetary. It's not finished yet, so he can actually target that down. It's like 90% done, but that's not done. And he will get that planetary here easily.
TY's looking for the surround, I believe, here. He's trying to come from the south at the same time, and here he comes, landing some tanks at the same time, forcing another stem. A lot of Maru's Marines are low.
He has the better Marine count, but about only by 15 right now. Maru has 2-2 completed, TY does not. So fighting against that upgrade advantage is not going to be something that TY wants to do right now. Losing that CC is huge because Maru's taking his own right now to the 9 o'clock expansion. And is continuing to put the pressure on TY. TY is kind of stuck on the defensive right now.
Yeah, I love how active Maru is in this matchup. That's how you have to be in TVT nowadays if you want to win. Maru taking a bit of damage from these tanks. Maru, I feel like he's got like almost too many SCVs. It's 70 to 58.
Yeah, I was about to say that earlier. And the more TY loses, he just replaces with better army. And he had the larger Marine count for a long time, but now he's down in upgrades. He's even at this moment in time, he's just behind a cycle, essentially, because he hasn't started 3-3. He has the better tank upgrade cycle coming up, but just for a little bit longer.
Look at this. Scans coming down here. It looks like TY wants to pull a Keen and come behind your enemy's army and try to siege the other bases here.
Oh, he's going to have such a good spot here, and so many of these depots will be killed at the very least. It's a depot minefield here, but Maru may come for the flank. He's got Vikings here with vision.
A stim forward from TY wants to zone out those Vikings, but some tanks drop in here from Maru, shelling the Marines, and TY is not moving. He's got some tanks in the back to save him as well.
He's going to try to go up here onto the high ground with some of these tanks in just a moment, I think. Looks like Maru is setting up for the big engage. He has to go into somewhat of a funnel, but he's going for it. Tanks RC's up here. There's way more for TY.
But
I think it's a mistake.
He's going to get this huge concave, but it is a mistake. And in fact, TY does hold. Maru running into all of the tanks, taking way too much damage.
Look at this. He has way more barracks. He's had way more production this entire game. He went into a choke point where he had 2 tanks to so many more.
And now he's losing Vikings. He's struggling to keep this. TY, though, he's trying to force it up the cliff here. Not sure if he should do that. I think he needs to find that 4th base, take it out, and start mining from his own fort.
I think he starts to think that Maru doesn't have a 4th base, and so he's like just playing a bit too aggressive as if he thinks he's won the game. Maru's 4th base isn't operational yet, but it will be soon, and he just is looking but isn't finding where it is. Okay, now he sees that the planetary is done, though.
Already ready.
He stims, he sees it's ready, and decides not to
drop
engage.
behind the mineral line. Just do a bit of damage this way. Gonna force Maru's army over to the top left here towards this base, but at the same time, TY can't really find another angle to attack from.
Yeah, that's kind of the difficulty of this matchup right now. All these 2 Marines are not dealt with, getting a few more kills. Maru did have a surplus in SCV, so this is not the end of the world. Killing the CC itself is the more important challenge here for TY, and he's trying to set up to poke at it a little bit.
A lot of these tanks very low for TY. 3-3 finishes here for Maru.
Oh, he wants to engage this. He's going to drop tanks on top of this army. There's way more Marines here for TY, though. He's 40 army supply ahead.
I love the tank positioning there by Maru, though. He gets on top of the high ground, but at the same time, a drop coming into the back door. TY's multitasking is out of control right now.
He's just taking bigger fights because he has the larger army as well. You know, he can afford to send units here and there and have different squads of units harassing and poking because he just has more. Now his 3-3 is still a ways away from finishing. Maru, every Marine engage he takes for the next few moments is going to be the better one.
Giving away Vikings here. This is not what you want to do. Maru's multitasking failing him slightly here. By the way, TY does have +2 vehicle weapons. Maru only has +1. So once TY hits 3-3 in just a moment, he will be ahead in that 1 upgrade.
Yeah. He's also secured his 4th and is now securing that 5th base on the right side of the map. 20 supply up still. Both players on almost dead even workers, 56 to 57.
Oh, Maru maybe going for it. He's trying to drop here on the top of this cliff. I'm not sure if that's going to work out. TY's got a nice position. Yeah. Snipes a bunch of those tanks.
I think this is a good spot for Maru, though, to shell here, because TY can't actually attack into this right now, but he has the Viking lead in health, so that's enough. That's just enough to push Maru off.
Yeah, 2 Vikings to 3. TY's Vikings are slightly more healthy. Maru going to make 2 more and maybe stop there.
Oh man, this game is so close, but it's nowhere near completion unless a player makes a big mistake here. TY will clean this up. A few of his units, actually a lot more of his units, going out of position here, so Maru will be able to take this base out if he commits to it. He has the superior firepower here by far.
Yeah, a lot of his tanks taking a bit of damage, and TY's just going for it. He is not turning back. He wants to kill Maru's base.
Oh, he's in a much better position for it as well here. He needs to commit, though, if he's going to go for this. Maru's going to try to set up a defensive position here in his main base. A few drops boosting in here, and here come the tanks. If he actually gets on top of that production, it's a big mistake. It's a big problem. And Maru is actually turning around with his army. This might actually be a win for TY.
He's turning all the way around, and TY has broken the ramp. He's on top of the production now, and how is Maru going to come from behind and try to engage this army?
It's going to be very difficult. He's going to pick off 2 tanks here for free. Some of those Marines taking some damage. Don't forget, TY has +2. Here comes Maru. He drops 6 tanks at the same time here. But all that TY has to do is retreat up the ramp. He's killed all the production. All he has to do is try to go home.
And he's just going to fight it at the same time, I suppose. Now he's going to try to get away, but he has done his damage, and he's got a bunch of bases back at home. He has the space over here. He's not mining, though. Maru actually is a base ahead, I believe, right
Maru's
now.
Base,
TY, but he doesn't really have the production. But
exactly.
He did take a nice fight there. It's so close right now.
He has to rebuild his production with his extra money. Look at his production tab right now. He's making 4 barracks. He's trying to get as many Marines out as he can with those 2 extra bases. Finally, we do see TY sending some SCVs over to this bottom right base, but that base at the top left was killed. But if you have infinity money and nothing to spend it on, it doesn't matter what your economy advantage is. So right now, TY is still ahead in this game, I would say. 7 tanks to 9, so Maru has a tank advantage. He doesn't have the +2 for those tanks, I believe, still just yet.
He also has the Viking advantage is 4-0. So if Maru takes this slow, which is very hard to do in this very fast-paced game, he can't really be losing these Vikings like this. Sniping 2 Vikings for just that small trade of Marines, very nice trade for TY.
Some of these tanks also very low for Maru, so even though he's got the better tank count, it looks like, you know, on our screen here, like on the actual out screen to Twitch and stuff, that it's a better trade. It's not always.
Loses another Viking there, down to 1 Viking. See it up there in the top left unit tab. Both these players very low on SCVs, 40 to 37. And just this one drop of 3 Marines behind the mineral line is going to delay a bunch of mining. And at this point in the game, when there's not that much mining, that is very important.
It's really important that those Vikings were killed. It means that TY can use this medevac as vision, as a spotter, which is a pretty rare circumstance to have happen, but it's what's going on here. A lot more SCVs dying, meanwhile, on the left side of the map. And Maru is still trying to find an angle on any of these SCVs, any of these Marines that he can.
Yeah, I like that. He's got a nice little concave at the bottom of the ramp. It's going to be very hard for TY to ever engage up there. TY only now getting his economy online, and this base up at the top left is totally undefended. There's 1 drop, but Maru's sending a bunch of his units over here. There's 1 tank over here on the right side.
It's nowhere near enough. Maru should be able to get this base. He's going to get the siege tank on the right side as well. SCV's coming up the line to fight, and I think Maru is going to win this game right here, right now, with all those extra barracks he added.
He's got no medevacs, and it looks like the 1 tank in the back helping out. This base does stay alive somehow, some way. This is the floated orbital, by the way, from the 3rd base.
Yeah. He also floated his natural to the bottom right, so I mean he's got 2 CCs, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, he's got 3. He's got the one in the main. He's got 2 CCs plus the one in the main that's not mining to work with here. He's trying to harass with these tanks.
This is cute, just doing a bit of damage, but he's got no defense over at one of his mining base. He's only got 27 SCVs. He cannot afford to lose his SCVs.
He's going to have to let this base go. He's going to have to let the orbital go to save his SCVs. Looks like it will just go down. Nowhere to run.
Maru just getting the better position on the map.
Every time. And we're just seeing 2 tanks harass here because he doesn't have any air. But it's not going to be enough to turn the game around. He needs more than this. He doesn't have the economy to afford more than this.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Maru is happily mining from 2 bases.
He just made like 7 barracks after he lost his economy.
Yeah.
He never remade factories. He was like, I don't need tanks. I already have the better tank count. I'm just going to make more and more Marines, and I'm going to out-macro you because your economy's weak. Okay, this could be the game, the changing fight. This could be the last fight of the game, and I think it's going to be Maru's.
That's going to be it. Maru is going to win it in an unbelievable game. GG. There it is. Maru taking down TY, the Terran Titan, and taking the title with him.
6-0 now in Pro League matches. Very, very impressive play.
7-0 after the win against Stats.
Yeah, that's right. 7-0. Putting Jin Air on 2-1. Taking out 2 important players here for KT Roll. So the question is it time for Zest? And I think the answer is yes.
Well, Wolf, the next map is Pryan Terraces.
True.
That'll only be game 4, by the way, guys. I feel like that game was like the finals. That was an unbelievable game. And I think TY was the guy that they were counting on to take out Maru. It was on Orbital Shipyard to go for that TVT. I'm sure Zest wanted to play on Orbital Shipyard. He played on that map very well. A lot of his performances so far in round number 1. But now he may be forced into Pryan Terraces. I guess they might want to send out a Zerg here. Maybe a Lenok, Lucira, and allow Zest to come out as number 4 if the Zerg does fail.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
It's just like, is Lucira or Lenok going to be able to take down Maru? Maru hasn't had the best TVZ, but
after the momentum he just earned in that game, though, I just don't even want to. I don't think either of them are on his level here. Even though you can look at the matchup and try to counter him by matchup alone, but I don't care if you put like Savior in his prime level Zerg and like that's like beating Terran when no one else is. Okay, and here it's just like it's not going to be enough. I mean, I would rather see Zest try to take him out here to stop him. But, you know, it's a hard choice. And I said earlier, I almost felt like whoever wins this TVT wins the series because it's just too much momentum on either side.
We were expecting Jin Air to win off the back of SOS. I thought he would take 2 kills. He actually failed in the very beginning, and it seems like Maru has kind of taken that responsibility on himself and says, okay, I'll do it. If SOS is not going to show up, I'll get those wins. And I definitely think this is a very hard decision. I agree with you. Do you send out Zest to break him down? It's not the best map for PvT. Or do you send out a Zerg? It's a Zerg map. You got Pryan Terraces here. But then you run the risk of if he loses, Zest has to win 3 games in a row.
Yeah. It's not an easy choice. I think maybe just knowing the KT Rollster coach, he will bring this down to matchup alone. In the old days, it would have been Zest and then Flash 100%. And like when Flash comes out, everyone's like, oh my god. But